All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And of course, joining us on a Monday, great to do a great weekend wrap up of sports, our good friend, Jason Cameron. Hey, buddy, how was your weekend?
Weekend was great.
Nice.
Friday was just very simple, just laid back, chilled, watched TV. But Saturday, I was able to see one of my best friends. He just recently bought himself a new townhouse out to Wasson. So I was able to see the new pad, the new place. Looked fantastic, by the way. Looked great.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And so we hung out. He was bringing his daughter to the circus. I guess the circus was in town near the Tuason Mills. It was like a Hispanic family with like just a small little circus. Like they do small shows.
Oh, wow.
But it was cool. It was cool. They had trapeze. They had some acrobatic stuff. They had some juggling. They had a clown that did funny stuff. It was cool.
Oh, so you actually spent time at the circus yourself?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Oh. It was fantastic. I felt like a kid again. It was so good. Candy. Nice. Oh, all the cotton candy you could eat. Yes.
I think you haven't grown up in the past like 30 years, man. Like you are a kid. You always have been a kid to me.
Yes, that's right. That's correct. That's why I went to the circus. That's cool.
Did in well with his daughter there. How old's his daughter?
Daughter's 9 years old. She's 9. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I think I saw some about the circus, but I just didn't pay it any attention. Yeah, because that's something that, I haven't been. I don't even remember last time I would have been at a circus, but yeah. So interesting.
Same with me, man. I think the last time I was in a circus was 3 decades ago when I was in my teens. So yeah, it's been a long time for me. But the more important thing, after the circus was done, we went to Montana's restaurant for dinner, and I had myself the largest rack of ribs with wings. It took me 25 minutes of eating to get through it. I was very impressed with myself.
Wow, awesome. Wow. That sounds good. Yeah, they do make great ribs there, and that would have been a hell of a feast. I blew a whole bunch of money on some stupid, really lousy entertainment. I was pretty damn pissed off. I was really looking forward to a great weekend of sports. There was so much sports to watch on TV, but I wanted to go out and enjoy ourselves Saturday night with no UFC. I thought, okay, let's find something fun to do. And I thought, okay, BC Lions. BC Lions are in town. They got a new quarterback and they beat Calgary last weekend. So I thought, okay, maybe they've turned this around and they actually get to play Calgary back to back. So they went to Calgary, beat them, and they get to play Calgary here. So bought a couple tickets and went there, and oh my God, one of the worst efforts I've ever seen. I was actually really, really, really pissed off that I spent the money and that I went to the game, because oh my God, they played so pathetically bad. It was just embarrassing. It was just such a crappy effort that I don't even know if I'm ever going back. Like, it was terrible.
It was that bad? Did they just show up at the field and just not do anything after that?
They just didn't even show up, man. They did not show up. Yeah, it was so brutal. And I've always had this rule that I won't leave a game until the bitter end, until the clock says 0 across. I don't leave. I just don't. I decided, not forget this. It was 25-3, and so I left. And of course, as I'm walking onto Robson Street, I hear, "Wah!" I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah. They scored a touchdown, but that still makes it 25-10. Like, like, give me a break. So, yeah, it was brutal. And I kind of got a little bit hyped about the Lions when I tried finding out more about this quarterback that they picked up. His name is Vernon Adams Jr. So I dug into his history a little bit, and he He went to a small university down in Washington State. It's called Eastern Washington University. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like I feel like I know some players that came out of there, but I just couldn't picture it. Couldn't picture it. So then he comes on the radio on, I think it was Friday morning, and he said, yeah, Eastern Washington was great. I really loved it, especially throwing the ball to Kendrick Bourne and Cooper Cup.
Yeah, Cooper Cup.
Yeah. And he just said, holy cow, Cooper Cup. I knew that guy was going to be a pro. Like he said, geez, the guy got like 10 to 15 catches a game. For big games when they played like high ranked teams, he'd get 2 or 3 touchdowns every one of those games. You know, there was some games he got 200 yards, 250 yards. He said it was just phenomenal. And Kendrick Bourne on the other side, you know, had speed burner. And so I'm like, wow, cool. You know, this is pretty neat. And I guess he did so well in Eastern Washington, got his grades up. He ended up going to Oregon and finishing off his degree in Oregon before he became a pro football player. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm giving this guy a shot. I watched that game the week before and they beat Calgary, and I was like, okay, you know, maybe they've got this thing sorted out. And then, wow, like, oh my God, his numbers were 12 of 24 for 151 yards for the entire game. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything. It was like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. The punter was like, you know, I saw more of the punter than I ever want to see in my entire life. It was just, oh God, it was frustrating. It was brutal. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get fed enough, but I was angry, man. I was furious. I was like, I wasted my goddamn Saturday night and all this money on this effort. Like, oh, I was so angry. So, okay, so Sunday comes, watching football, you know, trying to forget about that crappy football, enjoying myself. And then I had bought Canucks tickets for Canucks game last night. They're playing Calgary down at Rogers Arena. And I'm like, okay, this is great. We head downtown. I pull out my phone to get my tickets, and they're not there. And they somehow never got transferred from who I bought them from to my email address. And no matter what I did, no matter how I tried to figure it out, I wasn't able to, and never got to go to the game. So I'm like, oh my God, I blew all that money on the Lions game, blew all this money on the Canucks game, and I don't even get to see anything good. This is just horrible, horrible, horrible. I was like, why is my luck like this tonight? This is just sick. You know, this weekend, and I just frustrated. I just left downtown thinking, oh man, like I'm not going to be buying tickets for any sporting events for a little while here because this is really, really frustrating. So I was shocked. You know, I was really looking forward to a couple of games, local teams. You know, I thought, hey, this would be fun, but no, it wasn't good at all.
Yeah, that's just one of those weekends where nothing goes right.
Yeah.
Nothing goes right. It sucks.
Yeah.
It happens, but at least it was just limited to sports.
Yeah.
It didn't extend to anything else. So there's your silver lining, if there is one.
Yeah. That's about it. As I said, there was tons of sports to watch. I made a bit of a list here of all the sports I watched. So I watched CFL football, I watched NFL football, I watched NHL hockey, I watched President's Cup golf, I watched the Laver Cup tennis, and I watched some NBA. I watched baseball. They're going into the stretch drive. Jays are doing well. I've been following Aaron Judge. I'm a Yankees fan from once I was a kid, and Aaron Judge is on the verge of tying and breaking the all-time home run record in the American League, all-time Yankees record. He just tied Babe Ruth. He's about to tie Roger Maris and break it probably this week. I think they've got about 8 games left. He's hit 60 home runs. In 1920, I think it's 1927, Babe Ruth hit 60 in 1961. Roger Maris hit 61. 61 years later, it looks like Aaron Judge is going to break this all-time home run record. So I've been watching every one of his at-bats all weekend long. They were playing the Jays tonight, so I got to see a bunch of his at-bats, but I think hasn't hit a home run in about 5-6 games maybe now. And the Maris family keeps going to all these games, hoping to see it, hoping to get some, shake his hand, give him some props for doing it. And his family, his extended family, they're there. They keep showing them in the crowd over and over and over. But I think it's about been 20 something at bats and he hasn't hit a home run, but it seems inevitable. Seems like he's finally going to do it.
Now, here's a question, since I'm not that much of a baseball aficionado, but it seems that there's more emphasis placed on this than, during the juice ball era, where the balls were flying out of the stadium. Like I don't think the Marises ever went to Bond's game and said, "Oh, he's gonna break it." No, they're just like, "No, of course he's gonna break it. Look at how big his head is."
Yeah. It had a different feel. I know that there was speculation when those guys were hitting those balls but there wasn't any proof at that moment. But but this seems different. This definitely seems different. I think everybody really thinks and believes and are probably right that Aaron Judge isn't doing performance enhancing drugs, isn't doing that. So, this feels a lot more true, real. It doesn't feel tainted. So I think those other ones, there was speculation it was tainted. Nobody really knew for sure. But this one, it has a different feel for sure. Way more special, I think.
I would say so. And plus, on top of that, I've seen what Aaron Judge looks like. Yeah, that guy is a monster, and he should be able to do what he's doing naturally.
Yeah. What is he? I think he's 6'9", 280. So
he's a football player playing baseball. That's what that is.
So the sheer bulk and mass of him is amazing, and it's just phenomenal to watch. And when he connects with the ball, it is gone.
Yeah, man. Like he's just like he's just huge. I remember when I first saw him, I go, "What is that? Is that a baseball player?"
Yeah. Just like when you saw Alejandro Kirk when you were down in Seattle and the Jays catcher there, you're like, is that a fullback? Is that a running back? What the hell? He's wearing a baseball uniform. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Is that Mike Allstott's brother? Like, what the heck is going on here?
I know. Yeah, it's pretty neat when you see the new generation of ball players coming in, and you're just stunned at the look of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like he doesn't follow your traditional look of a baseball player. That dude definitely doesn't.
No, not at all. No. Yeah, so it's been fun. It's been really fun watching this. I've been texting a lot of my friends that are ball fans and saying, "Okay, hey, Judge is coming up. Tune it in if you're home, if you're around." And so many of them have been watching. We've all been watching with bated breath. I actually jumped out of my seat once, and it ended up going close to the wall. The guy caught it like right on the edge of the wall there. But when it came up, cracking off the bat, everybody in the whole stadium jumped up and was and then I jumped up. Some of my friends said they did the same because it seemed like it was gone when he hit it. But anyway, it's been pretty neat, pretty cool to watch, and it's great that he's a Yankee. He's he tied with Babe Ruth, passing Roger Maris, old time Yankees. He doesn't have a contract into next year, so he sort of bet on himself, and he turned down. I think he turned down $215 million, and everybody was like, "Whoa, are you crazy? This is unbelievable!" And I think there was people speculating this past week that that move probably made him about $100 million. He's probably going to get a $315 million contract handed to him, which will be pretty massive. And I think he'll surpassed the highest paid baseball player in his contract negotiation. Hopefully he stays in New York. But I think almost every team will try to get him.
Yeah, yeah, and also too, that's just a brilliant move on his part, where he had the confidence to say, you know what, I'm really good. Like I'm really good. So, and I know the Yankees, they got a bolt of money below the stadium. I've seen it. So
Yeah.
I know they got more money. I
They
know they got
go.
more money.
Yeah. Just
And don't
keep
play.
backing it up. Beep, beep, beep. Come on. I know you got more money. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, for sure. The great thing about him too is he's not just a home run hitter. He really has a good chance to win the Triple Crown. That's for batting average, RBIs, and home runs. If you're leading in all those three categories, it's called the Triple Crown. And he is currently tied in average. He has the most RBIs by far and the most home runs by far. He's got like, I think he has six. Yeah, he has 60, and the next guy is 41, 42. So yeah,
Not
he's
even
like,
close.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's way ahead in those two categories. But he might have the highest batting average in the American League as well. So, he's not just a home run hitter that strikes out a ton and doesn't hit for average. He's a really good hitter that also hits tons of home runs. So
Yeah, that's impressive. And I just want to add in, I pay attention sometimes to baseball. I just want to add in this little bit. Albert Pujols,
yeah.
almost in the 700 club.
No,
He's at,
he made it. He is
he
700
made it.
now. Yeah, he made it. He had 2 home runs the other night and got his 700. Yeah, it was
So he's the fourth person.
Friday night, I guess. He hit 2 home runs to hit the 700 mark. He's only the fourth guy in
And
Major League Baseball history to make it. So pretty incredible.
that's incredible. Like, how many years has he been playing? Because I remember him like he's been in there doing that for a long time.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
over 20 years.
20 something. Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. Not
Wow.
bad, man. Not bad. Like if I was ever gonna guess if would Pujols make the 700 club, I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just wouldn't have. But
Yeah.
great, great for him. Great for him to
Yeah.
do.
Oh, such a good guy too, Sue. Everybody always makes so much comments about how phenomenal of a guy he is, and all the things that he's done for the Dominican Republic, his homeland. He has done a ton for Special Olympics. His wife's daughter, before they met, had Down syndrome, and he decided to dedicate his life to helping tons of families that have Down syndrome children. And he puts on Albert Olympics and puts on these great events all the time, raises a huge amount of money for them, and just on and on and on. You could just talk about he's as great of a ball player as he's great of a man, and all the things that he's done. He does so much for the Dominican Republic, which has been one of a very poor nation for its entirety, and he's been able to give back and help so many families there. And yeah, it's great to see somebody that's so good gets such career milestones, but also be such a good person too. It's amazing.
Yeah, because like he does it on the field and off the field. He's just great in every capacity as a human being, which is just fantastic to see. And it's awesome to see that the guy is that committed to like his causes. And they're great causes, by the way. Great causes.
Yeah, and he announced at the beginning of the season that this year would be his last season, and a lot of people said, "Wow, like, what if you only get to 697 or 698? Like, will you just say see you later?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then at the midway part of the season, he only had, I think, 6 home runs, so it didn't look possible. I think he's hit 17, something like that, in the second half, and he's just been able to pull it off, and it was awesome. I definitely been following him on a daily basis and texting with friends, and I texted a friend on maybe I think Friday night, yeah, after he hit the home run. I texted a buddy and I didn't hear back from him, and I was kind of surprised. But first thing Saturday, text came in and he said, "Oh man, I went to bed early. I can't believe it. He hit it. He goes, I got tears in my eyes. I'm feeling so happy. I've been pulling for the guy this whole season, and so great to see it.
Yeah, it's just awesome. It's awesome that he was able to do it because a lot of people haven't been able to do that. I believe Alex Rodriguez got very close. I think he
Yeah.
was like within 6'5", 694, 695, and he retired. He was just like, "Well,
Yeah,
I
he couldn't
tried,
make it. Yeah,
couldn't make it."
he got really close, but yeah, just wasn't able to pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to mention, I do want to go back and mention the CFL briefly before we move forward. The, the Lions quarterback, Nathan Rourke, the Canadian that started off the season, they won the first 8 of the first 9 games, first half MVP, all these amazing records that he was setting, and it was just so fun to watch. Then he gets the Liz Frank injury, and probably will miss the rest of the season. He went to a small university called the Ohio University. It's not the Ohio State or one of those. It's one of the smaller ones. He set a lot of really amazing records and did a lot of great things there. But his brother had a game this weekend, this Saturday. They played. He was 41 for 50 for 537 passing yards, surpassed his brother by far in any of the games that he had. And the score was something crazy, like I think it was 68-65 or something crazy. And yeah, this guy, his name's Curtis Rourke, and he's following in his brother's footsteps. And yeah, hopefully he can have a professional career as well. I couldn't believe the numbers that I saw from this kid too. It was incredible.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's a video game stuff. It's like
Yeah.
537 yards. Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I was shocked to see the numbers that he put up. And yeah, I thought, I thought I was super impressed by Nathan Rourke, but Curtis Rourke is coming. Look out. I don't know if he'll be an NFL guy, but probably the CFL will come, come knocking on his door after his brother has had such a great start to his career.
Yeah, and especially if the brother, once he comes back, probably next season, and he continues on this torrid pace of his, maybe NFL teams will come knocking on his door.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. NBA opened up media day for most teams today. Open up training camp tomorrow. 114 kilometers from where I'm sitting. The Raptors are open their training camp in Victoria. Did you know they were coming back to BC for their training camp? The second time they've done that?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't even know why they would do that, because like it's kind of like we're across the country. Like we're very far away from them.
Yeah.
Very far away from Toronto.
Yeah, it's super far, but they want to have fans from from coast to coast to coast, so they come here. Vic has always been a big basketball hotbed, and they came in. They had some exhibition games here. Team Canada did, and the Raptors decided they wanted to come back, and so lots of great things came out of Raptors camp. We can't wait to start talking about NBA, but pretty neat that they're here again. I'm hoping I get a chance to hear some things from it. I got a couple buddies over there, and I've said, if you can get some access, go over there, and hopefully we can get some word and I can put it up on the website.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic. And also too, very smart marketing on the Raptors' part, capitalizing on the fact that they're literally the only Canadian NBA team out here. So they have all of Canada.
Yeah. You might as well just celebrate across the country. When they won the championship, I saw celebrations all across the country. Every night people were waving their flags, driving down, honking their horns, and celebrating big time. So yeah, I'm impressed by them. Embracing the entire country, not just the Greater Toronto area.
Yeah, no, and again, like I said, smart work, good work, and then also too, hey, if you're an NBA fan and there's a team that you want to cheer for, and you're a Canadian, it's got to be the Raptors.
Yeah.
It's the Raptors.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mentioned the Rod Laver Cup. Canadian Felix Auger Aliassime beat Novak Djokovic. Biggest upset win, biggest win of his career. He helped Team World beat Team Europe. Team Europe had Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic all on their team, captained by Bjorn Borg. They won the first 4 Laver Cups this year. The world came across. Felix was able to help them win. And John McEnroe finally gets a Laver Cup win. First one out of 5. And it was awesome to watch. Great tennis. And they are having the Laver Cup here in Vancouver next year, about this time next year. Can't wait. It's going to have best tennis players in the world all gathering together. I know tickets are going to be really pricey, but save up a little bit. You'll be so impressed. It was phenomenal to watch this weekend, and really good to see the Canadian contributing to a big win.
First off, number one, thank you for buying my ticket for next year. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Second thing, unfortunately, though, we were not going to see one of those players that you just mentioned from Europe, because Roger Federer is retiring after this year, and he will be sorely missed. He has been utterly fantastic for such a long time, giving us such great moments in sports. He will be sorely missed, but hey, happy trails to him. He's earned that. He's earned that and some.
Yeah, he played his final match in this Laver Cup. He decided to play doubles with Rafael Nadal, and they had a great match going. They were beat in 3 sets. Long, I think it was 11-9 in the 3rd set. So it was a long match, but yeah, it's sad to see him go. One of the greatest of all time. Such a gentleman and such an incredible player. I think he'll be part of the Laver Cup, so I believe he'll be here as a captain or as assistant captain or something. So yeah, it's a big blow for Vancouver's Laver Cup that he won't be here playing, but I'm sure he'll still be part of it as well. And the talent that'll be here is just phenomenal. And I don't know if we'll ever get to see it again. So yeah, people pay attention when the tickets go on sale. Try to go. I think you won't feel like I did this weekend and blew a lot of money wasted. I think the money will be well spent.
No, the money will definitely be well spent. We're looking at some of the greatest athletes playing tennis on earth, all in one spot, all in one place here in Vancouver. Can't ask for anything more if you're a tennis fan.
Yeah, totally amazing. Super great. Yeah. Bellator had a card this weekend, so I decided to watch quite a bit of it. It's Bellator 285. They had it in Dublin, Ireland. Yoel Romero was against Melvin Manhoof, and Yoel is 45 years old. Was able to get a huge knockout win in the 3rd round. He was on top, and he just started raining down elbows into Melvin's face when the referee jumped in to stop it. When they talked to Melvin after the fight, he said that was his last fight and he is retiring. Yoel said, "I'm fighting until I'm 50, 55 maybe." And he was screaming and said, yeah, he's never going to retire. That was awesome. Co-main event had Benson Henderson, and he got a big decision win over the hometown Dublin lad, Peter Queally. Former UFC fighter Brett Johns was on the card too. Johns went 5-2 in the UFC cage. He won a decision in the earlier bouts. It was pretty impressive. Great crowd support from Ireland, and good to see some of the talent there, some former UFC guys, and it was a pretty good event.
No, that's cool, and it's cool to hear some of the old school names still getting after it. Benson Henderson, I heard for that guy for a long time. Yeah. I'm impressed that he's still getting after it and still being competitive and winning.
Yeah, that was really nice to see. Very cool. Okay, before we get into NFL football, one last note about the NBA. There was 2 suspensions this past week. Emeka Adoko and Peter Sarver were both suspended a year. One of them not harsh enough of a penalty, one way too harsh of a penalty, in my opinion. I can't believe that Sarver only gets a 1-year suspension and a $10 million fine for all the things that he's done. And Udoka, it was a consensual relationship that they suspend him for a year, and I don't know, just drag him through the mud over a consensual relationship with somebody at work, which happens all over the world all the time. So pretty shocking. Both of those suspensions just did not make sense to me this past week.
Sarver, I agree with you 100%. After you hear like what was said, what he did, how he treated his female employees, all of that stuff, $10 million to a guy like that, who's, by the way, a billionaire. Oh, okay. So I went into my sock drawer and I pulled that out. Not a big deal. That's a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
That's a slap on the wrist. And on top of everything else, right? He gets to still keep his franchise. I believe with that Sterling dude, you made him sell his.
They made him, yeah.
Yeah. Now, maybe he didn't go as far as he did, but he came, as far as I'm concerned, pretty close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It sounds like Sarver is to the point where he's getting so much hate that I think it's sinking in what an idiot he's been. And I think he's on the verge of selling. I think he will sell the team.
Ah, good. Because you don't need somebody like that as an owner, as somebody that's supposedly somewhat a face of the NBA. You don't need that. You don't need him.
No,
we can get another billionaire that's actually personable, that acts the right way, does the right things, and treats people with respect. That's who you actually need. All right. That's what I'll have to say about Sarver. But the Ema Udokas thing, I'm sorry, man. I don't understand it. Like, I think there's clearly something else going on that he's being punished for. He stepped over the line doing something, but that something is being like intentionally vague. They're being intentionally vague about it. They want to talk about it, and they definitely do not want to bring in the young woman's name that he had this relationship with. They're not saying her name at all.
Yeah.
All right. So something happened. You don't know what it is, but they felt that this 1-year suspension was justified.
Yeah.
How so? You know what? We'll probably never know.
Yeah.
Probably never know.
Probably never will. Yeah. Yeah. It's to me, it's just very bizarre, especially a team that was really speculated to be one of the top teams going into the league this year, a finalist for the NBA championship last year, and consensual, when it's consensual, okay, they don't want people getting together at work. Those policies are, I guess, in place for certain reasons, but to just take a guy's livelihood away, give him such a black mark on his name here, but the woman actually also had a consensual relationship with a coworker. She's not getting fired. She's not getting even, nobody's even knowing who she is at all. So this is, I don't know. I just don't think this was handled properly, and I just didn't like it, and I wish it didn't even make the news at all.
Yeah, it would have been better if they kept it in-house, but at the same time, how are you going to keep it in-house if you know you're going to do that to them, right? It was going to get out eventually. It just, like the whole story, I'm sorry, man, it just doesn't even make any sense. Like, clearly there's other stuff that went on that we're never, I do need to reiterate that, we're never going to be privy to.
Yeah.
And then that's why this has happened. So, yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. I did want to mention, we are talking basketball. I did want to mention that the NBA has decided to honor Bill Russell league-wide. They are retiring the number 6. Nobody can wear number 6 from now on. There are a couple players I believe that already have them. They'll be grandfathered in, but nobody else will be able to ever start their career and wear number 6 again, retired league-wide. Only 2 players in North American pro sports have had their numbers retired league-wide. Can you name them?
Oh, but like is Bill Russell one, and there's another guy?
There's 2 more outside of Bill Russell. Yeah, and it's not basketball.
It's baseball, right?
Right?
Hank Aaron?
No.
Oh, man, Jackie Robinson.
Yeah, Jackie Robinson, number 42. You're right.
Number 42.
Yeah, that nobody's ever going to wear that again in baseball.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier and all the amazing things he did in his career. I'll give you a hint. Hockey.
Oh, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. Nobody will ever wear number 99 again. So, so quite the honor. No NBA players ever had that honor. Bill Russell won 11 championships in 13 years. He was the first black coach in the NBA history, first black coach, period, in North American pro sports. Civil rights activist that, was a pioneer in that, in that fight, and all the things that he did off the court. I'm super proud and impressed that they've made this move. They also are putting a cloverleaf logo and his number 6 on the sideline by the scorers table in every arena. And the Boston, and they have a patch on the right shoulder of every uniform. And the Boston Celtics are going to have another patch, and they're going to have his number in the paint on the parquet floor at TD Garden for Boston. So, lots of honors. They say they're going to do things all season long to honor his memory and just talk about, and make sure people realize how amazing of a guy he was and how much he meant to the league and, to the world as a whole.
To basketball as a whole. And also, too, if anybody deserves this honor, it's him.
Yeah.
Period. There's just nobody else.
Yeah.
That guy definitely deserves everything that he's getting. Everything.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. So it's awesome. Great to see, great to hear. And I can't wait to, see those honors, the patch and the logos and everything. That's so great. Yeah, it makes me so super, super happy. So, okay. NFL week 3. It just concluded the Monday Night Football game. We saw a matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Cowboys pulled out a 23-16 win. I just saw CeeDee Lamb got the 1-yard touchdown catch to get the winning TD. Ezekiel Elliott had a good game, 15 for 73 with 1 touchdown. Tony Pollard, even better game, 13 rushes, 105 yards. Cooper Rush, pretty good game, 21-31, 215 yards, 1 touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had the 8 catches for 87 yards. The Cowboys were able to get that second win. The Giants were 2-0 going into this one, and now they're 2-1, Dallas, and the Giants are 2-1. The Giants looked really good early. I thought Saquon Barkley was going to pull them to a win. He was 14 carries, 81 yards with a touchdown, and 4 catches for 45 yards. And Daniel Jones had a pretty decent game, 20 for 37, 196 yards, also 75 yards on the ground in 9 carries. And Dallas was able to pull out a big division win there, and end week 3 in style.
Yeah, man. Hey, got to give it to Dallas, considering who they lost with Dak Prescott going down and Cooper Rush stepping in and getting it done against the Giants. I actually thought the Giants were going to win this game.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't, but
Yeah.
but
Me
hey,
too. Yeah.
the Cowboys got it together, and they did it. And they did it through obviously the rushing attack. Giants couldn't stop them on that.
No, both teams were utilizing their rushing attack incredibly, and I thought Saquon's better than what the Cowboys have to offer here. It should tip the scales for the Giants. The Giants were 2-0 going into this, trying to keep pace with the Eagles, who are 3-0 and the only undefeated team in the NFC. And I thought, my money was going to be on the Giants for sure for this one. I'm quite surprised that Cooper Rush was able to pull off a big win and get Dallas their second win.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised as well. But hey, their running attack actually showed up in this game and really got it done for them.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I want to talk about the NFC after the AFC. I started with making my notes and putting things together with the AFC, and I wanted to start with the AFC East. The battle for the top of the AFC East was one of the best games going into the weekend. I was really excited to see the Dolphins and the Bills. And for the last foreseeable future, it's been Buffalo just stomping on Miami and beating them game after game after game, year after year. But Miami finally turned the tables. They are 3-0 after a huge win. And I was amazed. Buffalo had phenomenal offensive numbers. When you look at the stats and you didn't know the score, if I handed the stats to pretty much anybody on the planet and said who won this game, they would have picked the Bills. But Miami pulled off an amazing game and got this victory, and they're 3-0.
You know what? Okay, so you look at the score, 21-19, all right? So you're thinking, well, the offense couldn't have been that dominant. And then you look at Josh Allen's numbers, and you're like, it doesn't even make any sense. What are you talking about? They only scored 19 points. 42 of 63, 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then rushed for 8 attempts, another 47 yards. Yeah. So the man accounted for 450 yards of offense. But somehow, some way, Miami managed to somehow corral him and limit him in how much he scored. Yeah. I do not understand how that works.
Yeah. I guess it's the bend not break policy. You know, let him march up and down the field. Just don't let him get past the into the end zone. And they were able to pull off great goal line stand near the end there. He wasn't able to complete that pass. They stopped him on a 2-point convert as well. And it was a shock. I really thought Buffalo was going to be this team that just goes on and just dominates this division, this conference. And what we saw in the first couple of weeks, you just thought this juggernaut's going. But you look at these numbers, another 400 yards, 450 yards for Allen, and somehow they lose to the Dolphins, and they're second place in this division right now.
Yeah, and then you look at you look at Tua's numbers, 13 of 18, 186 yards, 1 touchdown. You're like, wait, what? What's going on? What happened? Right?
I know,
It just boggles the mind. But the one thing that I gotta give Bills credit for is they went into this game with a severely depleted secondary. Severely depleted secondary. Man.
Yeah.
Yes, and they still almost won the game.
Yeah.
I realized just how frustrated the game was when you saw the offensive coordinator at the end of the game lose his mind.
Yeah.
And then there goes the camera. The camera's taken out. You're just like, oh, well, he's not happy. He's not happy.
Yeah, he was angry. That was great. I was glad that they had that cam there. But yeah, I don't know if they'll have it next week because he definitely put it off. Yeah, he was furious. Oh man, that was pretty incredible. I was shocked. There's a few things coming out of this game that's quite wild. One of them is that Tua went down quite heavily in the second quarter, got pushed down, hit his head when he fell onto the turf, got up and wobbled around like a drunk coming out of a bar late at night, and they just marched him off on the sideline. Somehow said, "No, I'm good. He's good." Boom, got him back out there, and he played the rest of the game. They are saying that they're doing an investigation into the concussion protocols and if they were followed, why he was sent back in so soon. And yeah, we'll see what comes out of this investigation. But yeah, I was quite shocked that he was able to continue after the way he walked when he got up. He sure didn't look right.
No, he didn't. I remember seeing that and I go, oh, is he on a ship? No, his head just got really rocked. And they have those concussion protocols in there for a reason, to protect the players. I believe that's the point of this whole thing, So when you kind of ignore those things, I don't think the league likes it because, liability and such. Not
Yeah,
good.
yeah, not good at all. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. It was kind of surprising. The other thing was the butt punt. We remember Mark Sanchez with the butt fumble, and he every time you see his face anywhere, you're like, oh yeah, butt fumble guy. And the butt punt was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They were Miami was pushed back to about their 1 or 2 yard line. Fourth down, they had to punt the ball. Typically, a punter is about 15 yards back from the line of scrimmage, and he could only go 10 yards back on this one. Even the broadcasters were like, oh, I don't know if he's going to get this off. He might get it blocked. He might not be able to punt it very far because they're so tight. Well, his protector backed right up and basically backed right up into the ball as the kicker was kicking it, punted it right off his butt, went straight up, came down. It was a fiasco, but it didn't seem to affect Miami too much. I think it gave Buffalo 2 points, but yeah, Miami was still able to weather the storm and get this win. This was one of the most shocking wins I've seen. Just like you said, from those numbers. But the butt punt, yeah, it's not getting as much publicity as that butt fumble, but it was pretty funny to watch.
It was pretty funny. Yeah, like this game literally had a little bit of everything. And also too, the other thing I wanted to point out was that the Bills players, a lot of them were not dealing well with the heat in Miami. A lot of them were like, especially Stephon Diggs, he had to go in and out. Like they were suffering. I have no idea what the temperature was, but clearly it's really hot. Really hot.
I said that to Loretta. I was like, wow, man, I can't believe how warm it is down there. It seemed like it was 120 degrees. There was guys getting oxygen and trying to cool off, and there was a lot of guys cramping up, and yeah, it looked way too hot for a good football game there. But you mentioned the guys that were out for Buffalo and their defense. 6 starters and all were out with injury. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Dane Jackson, and then and others. And now I hear that one of the guys came in to replace some of these guys. He played this weekend. Christian Benford fractured his hand and will be missing some weeks from that. So yeah, their secondary is just decimated. Micah Hyde, one of the best safeties in the game, out. And yeah, I feel sorry for the defensive coordinator here, because he's going to have to pull in a lot of guys to fill a ton of holes that they'll have.
Yeah, he's going to have to do all of that. But if he can still do what he did against the Dolphins with just like a ragtag secondary, I think they're going to be all right, man. I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, they might be able to keep it together. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so the Dolphins play Cincinnati on Thursday nighter, and Buffalo goes to Baltimore. I'm super looking forward to that game. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, two of the mobile quarterbacks that put up tons of yardage through the air, on the ground. This is a titanic battle. This is going to be great, especially Baltimore will probably be able to put up a ton of points because of that depleted defense and secondary we're talking about. Buffalo's going to have to try to win by outscoring them. This is probably going to be the game of the week in week 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a good old shootout. Let's see who can score more points. Because right now, I have to say, Action Jackson's looking like an early MVP. He's looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Real.
Holy cow! Did he ever have a game too? Yeah, he's looking absolutely amazing, and yeah, I can't wait to discuss him in a bit. But okay, so we've talked about the Dolphins and the Bills. Let's talk about the Jets and the Patriots. The Jets, they were overwhelmed by the Bengals, who got their first win. It was 27-12. Joe Burrow had a good game, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase all contributed to the big win. The defense picked off Joe Flacco twice, sacked him 4 times. I was shocked. Flacco had 52 pass attempts. And I don't know why they would put that much on the old arm there. Maybe they just don't have a running game. And yeah, I was shocked. They have him, trying to win. It didn't work out. They also were dealt a huge blow. One of their top receivers, Garrett Wilson, got hurt and doesn't seem like he'll be able to play for a few weeks. So both teams now sit 1-2 on the year, and I guess not big surprise with the Jets. Jets had a big surprising one last week, but fell back down to earth this week.
Well, yeah, as they should, because they're the Jets. You can only have miracles happen every once in a while or every couple of years if you're the Jets. And also too, Burrow looked awesome. He was fantastic. He stayed in the pocket, got it done with 3 touchdowns. And I thought his offensive line actually was, protected him a little bit better than they have in the previous weeks. They, gave him time to throw the ball and stuff.
Yeah, finally, yeah. Those first couple of weeks were just brutal, and even going back to the Super Bowl, sacked 7 times there, and it was bad, but he must be happy. He probably feels a lot better, not as much bruises and beat up, because they finally gave him a bit of protection for sure.
Yeah, they gave him a bit of protection. He didn't have to be in that ice bath for half an hour after a game this time around, so that's pretty good. He's like, yeah, we're getting better. This is good. This is good.
Yeah. Okay, so Jets go to Pittsburgh, as I mentioned. They play 10 a.m. early game Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. And as I mentioned, the Bengals host the Dolphins for the Thursday nighter. So, okay, Patriots. They hosted the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, holy cow. Just a phenomenal game. 4 touchdown passes, 107 yards rushing, and a touchdown himself. This was his 12th game with 100 rushing yards. That's 2 ahead of Michael Vick, who had the record before Lamar came around. Russell Wilson is 3rd with 4. So, he's just doing incredible things week after week. Mark Andrews had another massive game, another couple touchdowns, and Devin Duvernay, Kyler Murray's cousin, another touchdown. Great catch by him. Their defense was huge as well. They got 3 picks off of Daniel Jones, and just big dominating, great victory by the Ravens.
Yeah, great victory, and Lamar Jackson betting on himself looks like that was the right thing to do. Looks like me signing that contract. No, I'm not going to do that because I'm just going to play the season, and you're going to have to pay me a lot more money, a lot more.
Yeah. We talked about that with Aaron Judge, and this is another guy that negotiated back and forth with quite a bit over the offseason. Decided no, you're not offering me enough. I'm betting on myself, and yeah, he's already, one of the front runners for MVP this early on, obviously. But if he stays healthy, he's going to be in there in the conversation all season long.
Oh yeah, man. Like it's just the way that he even reads the field, like how he's does the fake handoff and then he just bolts for like the middle of the line, and then he just takes off. You're just like, I'm still amazed by how fast he actually is. Where you're
Yeah.
just like,
Oh.
he's gone, he's gone.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Yeah, he goes end around and he can seem like he can beat everybody. It's incredible. Yeah, the speed is, and he's such a big guy too. You wouldn't think he would be able to be that fast, but man, he's elusive and super quick.
Yeah, he's an ultimate athlete, and he can sling it too, man. 4 touchdowns, 218 yards, 1 INT. But then he runs for the 107 yards, another touchdown. Like it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, he is amazing. Yeah, he's a pleasure to watch, absolute joy, and I can't wait for that game. Bills and Baltimore early window Sunday. It's gonna be can't miss TV for sure. And the Patriots at 1-2, they go to Green Bay, play in the later window Sunday, 1:25 Pacific start. Yeah, probably not good. Looking like probably going 1-3. The hoodies not going to be very impressed.
No, Hoodie's definitely not going to be impressed because he's like, I'm used to winning. What is this? Why am I losing? Yeah, your team's not that great. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's turn to the AFC West. We had another shocking game. The Kansas City Chiefs lost to Matt Ryan and Indy Colts. I pretty much wrote Matt Ryan off after last week. I said, that old Matt, I don't know. This was a horrible move for the Colts. I don't know why you got this guy. He's washed up, can't do anything. And he engineered another I think this was his 43rd fourth quarter overtime comeback victory, and was able to pull out a win, shock the Chiefs. Chiefs made lots of mistakes for sure,
Yes.
but the Colts capitalized and got a victory that probably messed up a lot of bettors, a lot of people that played fantasy, a lot of people that think they know the game. This was quite the shocking result.
Old Man Ice gets it done once again. 27-37, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the most important touchdown going to his tight end. What was it? What was that guy's name? I'm sorry.
Jelani Woods, I believe it is.
Jelani Woods. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Jelani Woods. And Jelani Woods actually being the main recipient of Ryan's touchdown catches, having 2 TDs. Jelani Woods being the hero, the savior of the game.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, he only had 2 catches for 13 yards, but both touchdowns. Huge, massive game for him. And Matt, sorry, Matt, I shouldn't have wrote you off. Good performance, way to go, another victory. That is the most in the NFL since 2008, and he's up there with the leaders like Brady and Manning, and he's in the conversation for amazing fourth quarter overtime comebacks. So it was a big shock and great upset. I did mention the Chiefs made a lot of mistakes. They missed a field goal, missed a PAT. I think Andy Reid decided, forget this. I'm not going to march my kicker out there if he can't make these. So they faked the field goal, messed that up too. They fumbled a punt, muffed the punt. And then Chris Jones made a massive mistake on that final drive that the Colts had. They had them stopped. He had sacked Ryan. I think it was 3rd and 6. He sacked him, and they were going to have a 4th and 15. And he started chirping at Ryan. Referee didn't like whatever he said. Boom, threw a flag, 15-yard penalty, got the first down, marched in and won the game. It was a huge mistake by Chris Jones. After doing such a great thing by sacking him, putting him, in big trouble. His mouth got him in worse trouble and really contributed to the loss.
Yeah, that was their downfall. He got a little too hyped, as they would say, a little too hyped up, said the wrong thing around the wrong person, the ref, and got called for unsportsmanlike. So
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, that was tough. I think Andy Reid's probably giving him a piece of his mind that said, "Shut your mouth." I saw Andy Reid's press conference and he said, he didn't hit him or anything. He didn't do anything like that. Like he just said some bad words. Like, really? That you're gonna give him a penalty that severe for some bad words? Like, oh, okay.
No.
Okay. Well, the Chiefs go to Tampa to play the Bucks on the Sunday nighter. Really excited about that game as well. As long as Tom Brady gets his receiving core back, this should be a barn burner. Should be a good offensive battle. Tampa's struggling. They had three top receivers out this past weekend. We'll talk about that in a sec. The Colts host the Titans in the early window for this one. So, okay. AFC West, we're talking. We got the Chiefs there. Now let's talk about the Broncos and the Niners. This was a pathetic, horrible, really, really, really sad game to watch. I talked about the BC Lions game earlier. This was just about as much of a yawner and a snoozer. There was so many 3-and-outs and just so many punts and just I couldn't believe it. This is only the second time in history that a score ended 11-10, and somehow Denver ended up pulling out the win. Mostly because Jimmy G doesn't know where the end zone ends and just decided to keep running out and gave him a two-point safety that ended up being the winning points for Denver. But pretty much everybody played horrible in this game. It was not fun to watch. I unfortunately did watch a lot of it, but this wasn't a gem for sure.
Or you could look at it like this. If you love defensive battles, you love low scoring football.
No.
What a game! What a game!
I just think it was ineptness. It had nothing to do with good defense. It was just horrible play calling and ineptness. It was just terrible. Oh man, this was a bad game, man. A bad game.
Yeah, it was a bad game. But somehow Russell Wilson manages to luck his way into a win, and he's actually 2-1.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know how you did that, man, but you're 2-1. So
they've scored. What have they scored? They've scored 43 points in 3 games, and they're 2-1. Yeah, 43 points in 2 games and 3 games, and they're 2-1. Russell Wilson never seems to lose against the Niners. That gives him a 17-4 record against the Niners in his career. That's pretty impressive. All those years in Seattle, they used to beat up on them, I guess, and he got him another victory against those Niners. Jimmy G, he just looked awful. Yeah, I mean, he just looked awful. I just, man, I thought, they were so lucky having him when Trey Lance went down. I thought, okay, this team has a great shot to go far, but yeah, he looked awful. The one thing that came out that was super funny was Dan Orlovsky, former quarterback in the NFL, had a really big gaffe years ago where he snapped the ball, ran into the end zone, and then he just ran out. He wasn't watching the sideline. He ran out, and everybody went, "What the heck are you doing?" He tweeted out, this is what he tweeted out: "I've never been happier." And then he just wrote freedom in like about 50 letters with lots of F's and R's and O's and M's. And he was like, "Oh my God, finally somebody else did it." It was super hilarious to see that tweet. And the Niners lost a couple fumbles through a pick. They and Denver punted the ball 10 times. 10 times Denver punted the ball. Like, man, this was just let's not talk any more about that game. It was bad.
Yeah, it was a bad game. It was a bad game all around. It was sorry about that. Got a bug going around here. Anyways, yeah, it was a bad game.
What kind of bug was that?
I don't know, but it's really big. It's like, whoa.
Great. Okay, well, hopefully it doesn't come around anymore.
Yeah. Okay, but if you see me freak out again like that, I'm sorry. Big bug. Trying to deal with them.
That was hilarious. Okay, 49ers host the Rams on the Monday nighter, so that interdivisional matchup should be pretty good. And then Broncos go to Vegas to play the Raiders, late window, 1:25 Pacific, 4:25 Eastern. Still sticking with the AFC West. The Chargers got killed by 4 touchdowns by the Jags. The Chargers messed up really bad and marched Justin Herbert out there and kept marching him out there all game long. Even when they were down by 2, 3, 4 touchdowns, he was still playing with broken rib cartilage, injections that he's taking, extra padding, all this extra kind of crap. Like, I don't even remember who their backup quarterback is, but come on, he should have been in. Here comes the bug again.
Sorry.
Holy! Wow! Did you get him?
I think I got him. I think I got part of him. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, with the Chargers, well, this is your franchise quarterback. This is a guy that's gonna lead you to the playoffs for many, many, many years. Gonna be the guy for probably 10 to 12 years, maybe more. They shouldn't be playing him, and especially once this game was out of reach, like he shouldn't be in there, possibly injuring himself worse and making this injury last longer and longer and longer.
I think they might have to make a decision. I think they might have to make a decision on, do we want to keep trotting him out? Because he's clearly being impaired by his injuries. Right? Like, we know that the man is good. We know that he can play better than this. But these injuries are severely limiting how he can play the game.
Yeah.
So you want to keep trotting him out there so that he can get, I don't know, more injured? That doesn't make any sense to me. Sometimes you got to look at the future and be like, well, he's going to be our quarterback for a long time. I think we want to try to keep him healthy. So I think they may have to make a decision here in the next upcoming week or whatever, if they want to sit him or not.
Yeah.
Try to heal those ribs.
I think he should be sitting. Yeah. Should get himself 100% and come back, because he's not out there. Keenan Allen's hurt. Mike Williams was non-factor in this game at all. He doesn't have Eckler's just doesn't seem to be the same guy this year as normal. They're just running the risk. I think the risk is too great to keep running him out there in the shape he's in.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I think the risk is too great. I think you have way too much invested to see him go down like that. And also, too, like you just said, at the end of the game, what is he doing out there? No, man. No. You don't trot him out there anymore. Once the game is out of reach, the game is out of reach.
Super stupid. Yeah. I was really mad. I'm a massive Chargers fan, have been my whole life, and geez, this was terrible to watch. I'm really angry at them, and I hope they get some sense in them. Trevor Lawrence looked great. This Jags team looked great after being the worst team of football last year. Shockingly, they're leading their division and they've turned things around. Doug Peterson has come in there and really, been able to do miraculous things. They got some really big pickups. Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and Marvin Jones, all huge pickups this offseason, finally giving Lawrence the weapons that he needs. And he put up great numbers, 3 touchdowns. Zay Jones Christian Kirk and Marvin Jones were the guys that got them. Like I mentioned, the guys that he brought in. Zay Jones had a big game with 10 catches, 85 yards. And Robinson is a great running back, for getting 100 yards with only 17 carries. That's super impressive. And this is a pretty impressive offensive team for sure with the Jags. And I think they could go quite far this year.
Yeah, like they got a good core of players that they can now build around. And with Lawrence, as he's continuing to progress his NFL career, he's obviously making strides this year, clearly. Yeah. So as long as he keeps doing that, he keeps progressing, and the team keeps progressing as well. And, the Jags got a future.
Yeah. Jags will be in tough this coming Sunday. They play the Eagles in Philly. That'll be hard. Chargers probably not as hard of a task. They go to winless Houston. So should be able to get back on track. The Raiders. I think they are the only. Yeah, they're the only 0-3 team in the league. Since 1990, only 2.5% of the NFL teams have made the playoffs. It's shocking. I thought the Raiders were going to be great this year. I thought this division was going to be the best in football. We were going to see teams just roaring out and everybody was going to be great. This was a really tough loss to the Titans. And I don't know what's wrong, but the Raiders are in big trouble already.
Yeah, I thought that the Raiders would be way better than what they were. What they are so far this year, being 0-3, which is just boggles the mind. I look at so Devontae Adams, 5 receptions. He did have a touchdown, but only 36 yards.
Yeah.
Odd. And then the guy that had the big game was Hollins. Huge game.
Massive 8 game.
158 yards, 1 touchdown, right? And then I'm looking
even threw a pass. Mac Hollins even threw a pass and converted it too.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was huge. Great numbers. Definitely great numbers for the Raiders there, but they weren't able to punch it in enough for sure.
No, and then the 2-point conversion that would have set the game into overtime, they just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done.
Yeah, that was a poor play.
It was
trying to get it to Darren Waller at the back of the end zone. It was tipped twice. There wasn't an open lane there. We saw Kyler Murray. We mentioned him threading the needle somehow, but they got to call a better play than that. He should have found an open guy, not a guy that had both 4 bodies in between him and the guy.
Yeah, that wasn't the greatest play call for sure for that 2-pointer that they absolutely needed. They did not get. And, on the other side, Titans played well. Derrick Henry looked great.
Yeah.
20 attempts, 85 yards, and then a touchdown along with 5 receptions for 58 yards. He had a big game.
Yeah, he's back. Great to see him back, and such a force, and he was massive for them. Tannehill played pretty good, and Titans got a big victory there, and finally got their first win of the year, sitting at 1-2, and the Raiders 0-3, and really knocking on the door to be out of the playoff race this early. That's horrible for Vegas fans. As I mentioned earlier, the Raiders host the Broncos. Late window, 1:25 kickoff time, Pacific time. And the Titans go to Indy to face your boy, Matt Ryan there. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Impressed that Ryan was able to get the win. And but we'll see if he can back it up with another one. Okay, let's turn to the AFC North. We've already talked about the Ravens, who sit at 2-1. They're tied with Cleveland at 2 wins, 1 loss, who beat Pittsburgh 29-17 on Thursday. Jacoby Brissett was good, had a couple touchdowns, threw TD pass to Amari Cooper and David Njoku. but their running attack was as good as ever. Nick Chubb, 113 yards and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt had another 50, 60 yards there. And Steelers fall to 1-2. Yeah, they just don't have very many weapons there, but big win by Cleveland. And they look pretty impressive on that Thursday nighter.
Yeah, dominant win by Cleveland, bouncing back after that horrible loss to the Jets. Like, horrible. So good on them to bounce back. I guess the lone highlight for the Steelers was that the receiver that made the unbelievable one-handed catch. I believe that's Pickett that did that.
Yeah.
Pickett, reminiscent of OBJ. Little bit not as spectacular, but still pretty spectacular. But yeah, that's the Steelers are clearly in rebuild mode, and they got Mitch Trubisky, who's not Ben Roethlisberger. So there you go.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Browns and Ravens sit at 2-1. Steelers and Bengals are 1-2, and there's 2 losses in a row. Okay, AFC South. The Jags lead the division at 2-1. The Colts sit second at 1-1. The Titans are third, 1 win, 2 losses. And the Texans sit with the second worst record in the conference at 0-2-1. They played a tight game against the Bears, but did lose 23-20. Davis Mills, decent numbers, but threw 2 very costly picks. And Bears won this game, but they still don't trust Justin Fields. I don't know, like, how you're going to keep this up and winning enough games to get you in the playoffs. He had 8 completions, 2 picks. Just weird. I don't know. They just don't seem to think that he's good enough to pass the ball much. Khalil Herbert was the man on this game. He had 157 yards on the ground with a couple touchdowns and another couple catches, but I don't know. This is weird the way that they're treating Justin Fields. I don't think he's that bad of a passer, but they sure don't believe that he's good.
Well, here's the thing. If Herbert can just do what he did in this game for the rest of the season, the Bears are going to be all right. They're going to be okay. but same time, but if he can't do that for the next, 14 weeks, I don't know. There might be a little bit of trouble. But I don't really understand their philosophy of what they're trying to do. Obviously, they want Fields to manage the game, not necessarily win the game, which doesn't instill a lot of confidence in your young quarterback if that's all you want him to do. So,
yeah, tough. I don't like it. It's a bad game plan, I think, but we'll see how it pans out. The Bears go to Jersey to play the Giants, who played tonight. So Giants will be on a short week. It's the early window. The Texans host the Chargers, so Chargers should be able to beat up on the second worst team in the conference. So, okay, now we're turning to the NFC. Let's start right off the top in the NFC East, and the only 3-0 team sitting in the conference, the Eagles. They look awesome. They look phenomenal. Jalen Hurts is another guy that's throwing his hat in the ring for MVP this season. He is just on fire. 340 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, another 20 yards on the ground. Devontae Smith, they call him Slim Reaper. Love the nickname. 6 foot tall, 170 pounds, and he had 156 yards through the air in the first half. They scored these 20. They won 24-8. They scored all their 24 points in the first half. Just decided, we don't need to run up the score, and easily won the game. That second week in a row, they scored 24 points in the first half. Got shut out in the second half, but they still won the game.
Yeah, because it didn't matter because their defense took care of it. They sacked Wentz 9 times.
9 times.
Nine times. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the offense was like, I think we're good because he's just gonna they're just gonna put him on the ground every time he tries to touch the ball. So yeah, the Eagles they're looking for real. They're looking like legit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they got great offense, great defense. Carson Wentz, former QB there, comes in and just got royally stomped. Those nine sacks. One of them caused a fumble. He was running for his life the entire day, and the Commanders just could not get off the ground with that much pressure. It was crazy. Yeah, Carson Wentz, they really put a beating on him. I don't know how, there must be a ton of players that played with him, on the same team, but they sure didn't like him on Sunday. They really put a bad beating on him.
They did put a bad beating on him. And then also, too, I want to say that Hurts put a bad beating on the Commanders' secondary. It looked like their receivers were just running free the whole game. Like, it's just like, hey, the guy's wide open. Where's anybody? No, there's nobody in the vicinity. It just seemed like the Eagles receivers were just wide open, and then the Commanders would kind of come into the play a little bit later on. It's like, oh, should have been covering that guy. Whoops.
Yeah, that first half was just crazy. It was just an absolute stomping. I watched most of it, and at the half, Carson Wentz had 24 yards passing at the half. His numbers, ended up being okay, 211 yards, but he had 24. And when the Eagles had pretty much just given up and let him get a bunch of yardage after that, it was a absolute shellacking in that first half. He must have just went to the locker room and just looked around like, is anybody gonna help me out here? Like, holy cow, I'm gonna die if you guys don't try to block some of these guys. It was incredible.
Yeah, like the offensive line for the Commanders just treated him Wentz like Burrow's offensive line treats him. It's just like, oh, well, we meant to block that guy, but he just got past us. So sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was the same thing. Okay, so Washington sits 1-2 at the bottom of the division. This Monday nighter will settle the division. Oh yeah, as I mentioned, the Cowboys and the Giants. The Eagles are 3-0 for the 10th time in the franchise history, and 2-0 on the road for the first time since 2010. They look great, and they host the Jags and their old coach Doug Peterson in the early window on Sunday. That'll be fun to see the guys. Doug Peterson, the only guy that ever led the Eagles to a Super Bowl, and I thought he deserved a lifetime contract for that. After a couple more years, had a down year, kicked him out the door, and now he's went to Jacksonville, turning that franchise around, it looks like. But yeah, it'll be good to see another former Eagle back in town.
Yeah, it will be a great game. Great to see that, and hopefully a very competitive, compelling game.
This will be Commanders will go to Dallas for another divisional game, and that'll be in the early window as well on Sunday. Okay, NFC West. Rams are on top 2-1. The rest of division are all 1-2. The Rams beat the Cards again under Sean McVay. I don't think they've ever lost to the Cards, maybe once. But the Rams just keep putting a beating on the Cards. They beat them 20-12. It wasn't a big stomping, but another victory nonetheless. Cooper Kupp got the first rushing touchdown of his career. He didn't have dynamic numbers, but great to see that they're kind of maybe Deebo Samueling him and giving him some opportunities to run the ball and even score that way.
You just got to give him the ball somehow, and he'll make something happen. That's how good that guy is. It's like rushing, catching, whatever it is, just got to get the ball in that man's hands, and he'll make something happen.
Yeah. Kyler Murray had a huge game, but he just couldn't punch it into the end zone. Hollywood Brown had a massive game, 140 yards through the air. Greg Dortch was good, 9 catches for 80 yards. Kyler Murray over 300 yards, 37 completions. But yeah, they just could not score those touchdowns. They just got 4 field goals. Didn't put one in the end zone the entire game.
Yeah, their red zone offense was not clicking whatsoever, and it was unfortunate. But to a certain extent, Arizona's offense it looks like backyard football all the time though now.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing.
that's true.
Like I think that at some point in time something has to be structured. It can't just be off the cuff all the time. So I don't know what has to change, but something has to be a little bit more stable, a little bit more structured.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. Definitely right. Okay, so as I said, the Rams lead the division 2-1. 49ers sit 1-2, Cardinals 1-2, and also the Seahawks sit at 1-2. They had a tight game against Atlanta, but they just could not stop the run. Atlanta was able to just dominate and get a huge 27-23 victory.
Yeah, Patterson was huge. 17 attempts for 141 yards and 1 touchdown. Yeah, they definitely weren't stopping the run there. And Mariota, not bad. 13 22, 29, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but they did just enough to win this game.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the heck's going on with Pete Carroll. Why their run defense is so bad, but just Patterson, whenever he got the ball, he was finding huge holes. I was shocked. There was a lot of talk last week about how many tackles that they missed, how many tackles that they had a guy and he was able to get through. This one, they weren't even in the vicinity. There was just huge holes that he was constantly running through. It was like, we decided to just not even bother trying to tackle and just give him opportunities there. It was one of the worst rushing defense effort I've ever seen from the Seahawks, and it was rough. I was really mad at Pete Carroll also when they didn't go for it, 4th and 2 down at the 10-yard line. They went for a field goal. Atlanta went down and scored the touchdown. That was the difference. It was 20-all. I think Pete Carroll's gotta go for it on that. Especially when they're not really going to have tons and tons of opportunities in the red zone. This year, I think you just got to go for it. Geno Smith, you can't blame this loss on Geno Smith. I honestly am blaming it on the run defense and Pete Carroll. I think he made a few big mistakes there.
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't have the confidence in his team to get it done. Let's be honest. That's what that is. If you're not going to go for it on 4th and 2 on 10-yard line of your opponents, and Geno Smith had good numbers. Yeah. Played a good game. 32-44, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like 1 interception, but he played well.
Yeah.
Played well enough to give him a shot, on a 4th down.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned. A lot of people were just talking about Geno and this team, never going to go anywhere this year, but he had good numbers and on a decent team with a run defense, he would have had a victory now. Falcons got their first win, and it was tough for Seattle fans. A lot of people here in this neck of the woods are big Seattle fans, and they should have been able to get this victory, but they did not. They go to Detroit to battle the Lions, early window on Sunday, and Atlanta hosts the Cleveland Brownies. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, let's turn to the NFC North. The Vikings, Packers, and Bears are all 2-1. Lions are 1-2. Let's talk about the Packers. They were playing in a much anticipated battle against Tampa. It was the GOAT against the baby GOAT. Tom Brady against Aaron Rodgers. We expected this would be exciting. Hell of a game, and it was pretty much a dud, 14-12. win for Green Bay. Rodgers was good, but Tom Brady just definitely did not have his guys. He had Mike Evans was out to suspension. Julio Jones is out hurt, and Chris Godwin also injured. They dragged Cole Beasley off the scrap heap and gave him an opportunity, but missing those weapons, Tampa just wasn't going anywhere on Sunday.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious that their offense was lacking without those guys in the lineup. But still, at the end of the day, Brady still gave him a chance to win the game, which is I'm amazed at it. I'm amazed that it's like, oh, so game is boring. Got that part. But when you don't think he should have a chance of winning the game, he still has a chance of winning the game.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can never count him out. That's for sure. But that was tough. Hopefully they're going to be able to get some of those guys back, and this offensive juggernaut can get back going. The other thing that I wrote down here was just poor clock management. I don't know what the heck's going on there, but they almost had a delay of game on the touchdown that brought them within 2 points. They did have a delay of game penalty called on the 2-point conversion that pushed them back 5 yards, and they weren't able to get that 2-pointer that would have tied it up and sent it into overtime. It was really strange how mismanaging they were of the clock down in such a crucial time, and with a guy that's the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. I don't know how he wasn't able to get the ball off on time. It was really it just was baffling to me.
Yeah, it was not great clock management whatsoever. But I will give credit where credit's due. The guy that tipped that ball for the 2-point conversion, Devondre Campbell, had a massive game on defense. Saves the game with the tip ball, and also had 14 tackles in that game. Well, he was a monster.
Unreal. Yeah, that is a monster. Amazing. As I mentioned, Tampa hosts the Chiefs on the Sunday nighter. So hopefully Tampa can get some of their guys back. Chiefs will be a little bit angry after losing to the Colts, and I think it'll be a good game Sunday nighter. Green Bay hosts the Patriots in the late window, 1:25 Pacific time kickoff for them. NFC North, Kirk Cousins, he helped get a big victory over Detroit, 28-24. They're 2-1 now. 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 through the air. Pretty impressive performance for the Vikings here, getting the big win.
Yeah, and then had a Thielen sighting, 6 receptions for 61 yards and 1 touchdown. Yeah. So he showed up. That was nice to see. But you know what? Lions aren't the same Lions from last year. I'm gonna give them that. Give them that. They are a better team. They are a tough out now. Like Goff played well, 25, 41, 277 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and then Williams, 20 attempts, 87 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. No, the Lions are a good team. They're going to be in every game, I think, this year.
Yeah, I have some really amazing stats here. The Lions scored a touchdown in the first 3 quarters of this game. That set an NFL record by scoring a touchdown in 11 straight quarters to start a season. They had an active quarter scoring touchdown streak that went back to last season, and it was 16 straight quarters, close to the all-time record of 19 straight quarters. They actually have scored the second most points in the league behind Baltimore. 95 points in their first 3 games. Baltimore scored 99. Unfortunately, they've allowed the most points in the NFL, 93 points in those first 3 games. That's the worst in the league. So yeah, it's great offense. They gotta get that defense tuned up a little bit better. And yeah, they look a lot better than they did last year. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, well, hey, that Dan Campbell didn't cry for nothing. You know what I mean? Didn't cry for nothing.
Right. Yeah. There was word that DeAndre Swift had a shoulder sprain, could miss some time. He was already dealing with an ankle injury, and he was a bit banged up going into this one. Jamal Williams got the bulk of the carries there, but DeAndre Swift is an amazing player, and I loved Jared Goff's attempt at the Hail Mary. He got out of trouble, and I couldn't believe the throw he threw, but there was too many Vikings down there in the corner, and picked him off to get the loss. But hey, Dalvin Cook was good. He has not had a good start to the year, but we had a Dalvin Cook sighting, and there is a lot of weapons for the Vikings. They should win a lot of games. And Kirk Cousins, yeah, had a good game. But yeah, you're very, very right. Lions look much better than they did last season.
Oh yeah, they are definitely more improved. And you know they're going to give any team they play this year. They're going to give them a good go.
Yeah,
every team.
Yeah. The Vikings go to London this weekend, and they'll play New Orleans. Early kickoff. It's 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern time, and the Lions host the Seahawks in the early window of 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time kickoff there. Okay. Also in the no, let's turn to the NFC South. This is the last division here. The Panthers finally got a win with Baker Mayfield, 22-14 over the Saints. The Bucks are first in this division. The Panthers, Saints, and Falcons all are 1-2. Baker finally gets to breathe a big sigh of relief and get a victory. Baker wasn't the reason why they won this. Christian McCaffrey was. He's up to his old tricks and got another 100 yards or so. And Laviska Shenault was pretty massive. 2 catches, 90 yards with a touchdown. Super impressive performance from him.
Yeah, and then also too, Marquise Hayes recovering that fumble recovery for the touchdown, start the game off. Like that was huge. That was a big moment for the Panthers, and they come out with the win. And hopefully Baker can build upon this, because I think he just needed that first win to build upon something. This is it.
Yeah. Jameis Winston had great numbers, except the 2 picks were really costly. He had 2 receivers with over 100 yards. Chris Olave had 147, and Traquan Smith had 105 yards. Kamara had a pretty decent game. They only gave him the ball 15 times, but Mark Ingram had a touchdown on the ground, and Marcus Callaway had the lone TD through the air. But yeah, they just weren't able to get that third touchdown that they needed to give them a shot, and Panthers got the win. Panthers host the Cardinals late window Sunday. The Saints host the Vikes in London. Just like I mentioned, early start. I think it'll be before you get up in the morning, so I don't suspect you'll be watching it live, but I'm sure you'll see tons of highlights like you always do.
Yes, I will see the highlights. But yes, I will definitely be sleeping. Yeah. Need my beauty sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the NFL story throughout. Yeah, week 3, it was fun. Lots of great games. And yeah, as I mentioned, really some big matchups to look forward to week 4. I did want to mention that the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight is maybe not a go. They had announced they were happening December 3rd, and now today Tyson announced that Joshua was given a deadline, didn't sign the contract, the fight's off. He wants to fight Usyk now, and we'll see. They were talking about this massive fight here in England between Joshua and Fury, but supposedly, according to Tyson, it's not happening. So what did you hear?
I heard it off of Instagram. I heard it from Fury's mouth. Monday was the deadline. I think he said 5 p.m.
Yeah.
The contract was not signed, and then he began to cuss him out pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess that's not happening. I find it like I find the matchup between him and Usyk to be absolutely. It's just I'm interested. I'm interested to see exactly how that would look like and what that would look like and how that would even like how Usyk would approach Fury for him being such a bigger man than he is.
David versus
like,
Goliath there. Like I can't see
Goliath.
I just can't see him being able to beat a man that big, that much bigger than him. I just cannot see it happening. So it doesn't, I don't know if it intrigues me. I just think it's going to be, such a one-sided affair. I think Usyk's he's more like a cruiserweight to me.
Yeah.
He's not a heavyweight. And I just, I think it would be smart for Fury to do it because I think he'd win and he'd be able to get all the belts and unify the heavyweight division totally. But I don't like watching a fight where I know one guy's going to dominate. I just don't think Usyk would have even a sliver of a chance.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that fight, and that's the reason why it took me so long to gather my thoughts, because I'm just like, what's his path to victory look like? Like, honestly, what does his path to victory look like? He would have to do what he did against Joshua by using his speed and his distance management and everything, but to the nth degree against that guy.
Yeah.
Because eventually he's going to cut off the ring, he's going to lean on you, and he's going to wail away with his heavy shots because he's going to literally be 40 to 50 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy. Yeah. We'll see if it comes together. We'll see if this Joshua one comes together. We've heard, this is off, and now we've heard, a lot of the stupid crap that happens all the time. Eddie Hearn, that's one of the guys that's trying to put this Joshua Fury fight together, has sent out a lawsuit to Jake Paul today for $100 million for defamation of character. Jake Paul said that Eddie Hearn has been paying off referees and paying off judges, and Hearn is really mad and has decided to send out this $100 million lawsuit. We'll see what comes together. These guys were trying to negotiate some fights in the past, and it's become pretty ugly between these two now.
Here's the thing about rich people. You gotta watch what you say. You really gotta watch what you say, especially when they're inflammatory remarks like that, because remarks like that could cost Eddie Hearn his livelihood. That's his career. That's what he does. And now if you're trying to tell me that a promoter is doing like bad things behind the scenes, paying off people and stuff, not good.
No.
Not good ever. Not ever. And that's why Eddie Hearn is doing what he has to do to protect his reputation.
Jake Paul's mouth has gotten him into trouble before, but this could be this could be one of the biggest mistakes he's ever made. And you're right. This affects a guy a lot when there's talk about improprieties and fixing fights and paying off people and stuff like that. I think Jake Paul's made a big mistake and stepped over the line way too far.
Way too far. And if you're gonna take that step, you better have proof, because not good. Because it sounds like there goes all your money, Jake. All of it gone.
Not good. UFC coming up this Saturday. I hate The main event, I don't know what the UFC's thinking making this main event. I'm not even going to talk about it. I want to talk about the co-main. I love Randy Brown, Jamaican boy. Love watching him fight. This fight against Francisco Trinaldo should be really fun.
Yeah, I think that's going to be obviously extremely competitive. Trinaldo always brings it, and Randy Brown is a hard Rubik's cube to figure out because of those long limbs of his, and the way that you're going to have to take a beating to get inside him.
Yeah,
That's just the way it is.
yeah. Rude boy is tough and so long. So, any other fights that you want to mention on the main card?
Yes, Sadiq Youssef is fighting a dude. But I love Sadiq Youssef, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. The guy that he's fighting is Don Shainis. I don't know who Don Shainis is, but I do know who Sadiq Youssef is, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again.
Yeah, he's great. Good heavyweight battle in the main featured fight on the prelims. Ilir Latifi against Alexei Olenek. Olenek is just one of those veterans that's been around forever and has an incredible ground game. This is gonna be what his 80th fight? Is that right?
78th. No, yeah, 78th fight.
78th fight. Oh man.
78th fight. Which doesn't even make any sense. It's like, so this guy's just gonna keep fighting forever? Like I don't even know how old Olenek is. He could be 22, but he looks like he's 44. Right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Christoph Jotko Brendan Allen fight. These two guys are big bangers, and at middleweight, these guys bring it every time.
Odd that fight in particular is not on the main card.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Yeah.
Tell
me why they made the main event what they made. Like, is there any explanation that anybody could give me why that is the women's strawweight fight between Mackenzie Dern and whoever is the main event? Like, what the heck is that? Do I want it? Like, oh man, I gotta see this. Like, don't you want a main event to be like, oh man, I need to watch this card because this battle is something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. Like, I don't. Maybe their parents, maybe their spouses, are gonna want to watch this. Who else is gonna want to watch this?
Well, you know what? Sometimes you do have to promote the women. You do have to promote the strawweight division at times, and I believe whoever wins this fight might be looking at getting a shot at the champ. Oh, yeah. So that's why I believe this fight is the main card. It's the main event. There you go.
Hate it. I just looked up and noticed that TSN, their top 10 list today is the top 10 butt moments in sports.
Oh, nice.
After the butt punt that we witnessed this week. Don't make sure you don't miss the top 10 butt moments. It's pretty funny. I've been catching some of it as we're talking here. There currently is a streaking cricket fan who makes a huge fall and takes lots of road rash as he's trying to escape security guards.
Oh,
rough. Butt moments. Top 10 butt moments. I never thought a TSN top 10 would be top 10 butt moments.
Well, you know what? Hey, we just had a top 10 moment myself with me trying to fight off that huge bug. I still don't know what it is.
You know?
I think it's dead. Looking at it, freaking huge. Anyway, so yeah.
What did it look like? What was it like? Fly?
Like it's one of those big flies. Like what? One of the big ones. They just kind of creep around. They're always around like lights and shit. But it was bigger than what I normally would see. Like the thing is, it looked like you've been working out. Took some steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the bugs are on the juice. I had that happen to me last night. went into my bathroom and I was standing there, and all of a sudden I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I looked, and there was a huge spider on the sink, and it looked like he was just taking a drink. And I'm like, holy crap, look at the size of this guy. So I went and got a glass and I put it over top of him, and I slid a piece of paper underneath him, and then I took him out back and I let him go, and I could see his shadow on the side of the wall from the light. And the guy was that massive. I was like, geez, this guy, I don't know what he's been eating around here, but holy cow, he was massive. I was pretty shocked.
Okay, so you're nice. You're nice. I know
Didn't
what I
kill,
would have done with that
didn't
sucker.
kill him.
No, you going into the toilet and he's going. I'll never see him again. That's what I like to see. I want finality. Never going to see you again.
Never going to see him again. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever see that guy again, but yeah, that shocked me. He was definitely munching on something big to make him that huge. He was a big boy.
Yeah, because you hope you don't see him again, because if you do, he's going to be bigger.
That's true.
That's going to be scary. Now you're going to be scared. That's why I do what I do. I make sure that I never see him.
All right. I might take your lead on the next one I see.
Good idea.
That was hilarious. I've got a clip that use it in the blooper reel. Jason a couple times chasing off a bug.
Yeah, there you go. You know nice. Me, but we don't get along.
Top 10 bug swatting moments.
There you go.
Cool, man. Well, this is fun. This was great as always. Thanks for doing this. Yeah, it was just pretty much just the NFL we covered, but we actually chatted quite a bit leading in for with our weekend of sports and stuff. Yeah, keep your fingers crossed that any more tickets that I buy in the next while doesn't turn out as bad as they turned out this past weekend.
Well, you know what? I don't think it can. Yeah. I don't think it can. I don't think it can get any worse than what happened to you this past weekend.
Yeah,
you can only get up.
Only go up. Yeah, I guess that's life. It's just roller coaster. It's going down. It can only go up. So
exactly.
Nice. Okay, man. We'll have a great week. Say hello to everyone for me, and yeah, we'll keep in touch through the week. I'm sure there'll be lots of chat about as the week goes on.
Oh yeah, you bet you, my friend. You bet. You have yourself a great evening. We'll talk later.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. Cheers. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Okay. All right. Wow. We've come to an end of another great episode. Geez, I didn't expect it to be very long tonight, but it turned out to be. Once we start talking, just time flies. It's so fun. Yeah, I want to thank everyone for sticking in. Appreciate your support as always. And yeah, I want to thank our partners and sponsors. Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast, and phenomenal at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. Just go to their website and yeah, have a blast like we do here. I want to mention Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value, and the V350 stick is a must-have for any hockey player in your midst. Pampas and Possibilities, designers of West Coast, beautiful things for your home. Get them on the case to make your home look fantastic. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. You can go to our website, purchase some of their products at a very great discounted rate. So do that for sure. And go to CompleteMediaNetwork.com for tons of great content in so many different areas. You'll love it a lot. I really recommend it. And yeah, tell your friends, tell your family. Take care of yourself. Have a really good week ahead. We will talk to you soon. Bye for now.